So we started working with United Flower Growers over 10 years ago. It started out as basic IT support, so fixing computers, and it quickly expanded to building more of their infrastructure, and it ultimately arrived at us being a key partner with them, providing the technology solutions for the innovations that they have for how they continue to evolve their auction system to be able to sell more product to more people faster.
So UFG came to us. They had a single auctioning computer already, but it was running on DOS. The stand that you can see behind me, they had just little push buttons, and we had a PLC running in the background, and it just wasn't very efficient. And my role in that was helping to automate that, helping them to increase their efficiency. I also helped come up with a lot of the solutions.
UFG had an opportunity to digitalize their entire auction process. At the time it was still mechanical and electrical, an old solution that had been in place for a long time. It was based on technologies that were getting increasingly harder to support. So the initial brief was help us to digitalize this, because our options are to either hire a company out of Belgium that would cost us €500,000 to do the project, or we can develop this piecemeal on our own with a bit of Kiwi ingenuity. So that very first project was about digitalising the auction clock and digitalising the buyer interface so that buyers had a little bit more than just a single button to push for interacting with the auction. Innovation, especially with technology, is not necessarily something you do in one go. Often it's iterative and you're just introducing small innovations along the way. And with the United Flower Growers, there's been many of those moments, but there are 10 in particular that we like to mention when we're talking about what we've achieved for them. Number one, digitalising the auction platform. We helped them to move their entire platform from a purely electronic system to an IP-based system, which gave us a lot of advantages. For a start, the biggest issue with the electronic system was that it could only capture one buyer at a time. But can you imagine an auction where you're able to capture 2, 3, 4, 5 bids at the same time? All of a sudden your capacity to process sales and actually push more product through an auction increases significantly. By moving to an IP-based system, we gave ourselves the opportunity to increase the number of buyers that have been captured from 1 to 5. In fact, it's variabilized. We can change that as we need to. Number two, we introduced a tactile buyer interface. Now this was really important because prior to this, the only way that a buyer had an opportunity to interact with the auction was by pressing one single button. That button would stop the auction. So the auction had to come to a complete standstill while the buyer then interacted with the auctioneer. The tactile interface for the buyers means that they're able to interact with the auction at a far deeper level. They're able to indicate the quantity that they want. They've got more options around how they make their bids, which means that the auction goes from being stop-start and heavily reliant on communication between a buyer and an auctioneer, and actually flows far more consistently throughout the morning, which makes it more efficient.
Number three was bid match. Bid match allowed buyers to match the bid price of another buyer in the auction. That helped them to hopefully guarantee a good price for the product that they really needed.
Number four is future bid. The idea is quite self-explanatory. The idea here is that buyers have got businesses to run as well. So often they can't wait around for a whole auction to get the products that they're looking for, or there's something else they've got to go and do. So Future Bid allows them to browse the lines that are coming up before they've been auctioned and actually place their bids ahead of time. It's risky for them, but it gives them an opportunity to participate in an auction that they would otherwise have had to have missed.
Number five was the self-service print station. Previously, buyers would have to go to the auction office and ask a staff member to print their invoice for them. Now buyers can go to a touchscreen interface and print out their list of products for the auction. Number six was cloud auction. This was a remote buying facility for buyers. Instead of having to come to the auction, they could participate at home. This was quite innovative. It was all browser-based, meaning there was nothing to download. Buyers could just simply log into a web-based interface and participate as if they were at the auction.
Number seven was our real-time streaming protocol. A big issue with an auction is the importance for real-time information, and buyers really want to be able to see what product is actually being sold. And with flowers, you can't just show a generic picture. People actually want to see the specific product which is being sold at that time. Think about a remote buyer. It's a lot more difficult for them to get that information. We played around with different ideas for how to get that information to them or an image to them. In the end, we decided that we could design our own protocol for streaming real-time audio and video, and it's pretty slick. It's probably only a couple of seconds delay, which is right up there from a streaming protocol perspective, something that we're really proud of, and something which adds uniqueness and value to UFG's auction.
Number 8 is the trolley tracking system. All of our trolleys here are now individually labelled. That helps us track trolleys through the auction. This is particularly important for remote buyers, so they can see what products are coming up next in the auction. And it also allows UFG to track their assets and also hire those assets out to buyers and growers.
Number 9 was the introduction of a simultaneous auction. As UFG's capacity expanded and more product was coming through the auction, there was a need to be able to sell more product in a faster time. And one of the only ways to do that is literally to have 2 simultaneous auctions happening side by side. So we completely redesigned the platform to be able to run 2 different clocks, which meant that the interfaces needed the ability to bid on 2 different auctions at the same time. That meant the cloud platform needed the same capability too. So we developed all of that to essentially double the throughput capacity of the auction. It's probably one of our biggest and most ambitious projects so far, and that's something we did in the last 2 years.
Number 10 was IT infrastructure. When we started here, UFG had one server that was running all their ERP, all their email, all those critical services. We moved that over to a more redundant infrastructure and, more importantly, a recoverable infrastructure, which has really come in handy.
Our clients are delighted with the fact that we have a big range of capabilities in both the IT services sphere as well as the software development sphere. Our customers that utilise both of those together are the ones that definitely benefit the most. They're the customers that have been able to use technology to really take off, to grow their productivity, to grow their capacity to generate revenue. Our customers also appreciate the fact that we don't just pay lip service to the idea of business strategy, we really understand it and we understand the importance of that. That means that technology has a different interplay with different type of customers. Some customers it's a constant ongoing development. For others it's about introducing systems that are going to stand the test of time so that technology is contributing to a low-cost operating model. At Unify Digital, we exist to help Kiwi businesses grow their revenue generating capability, their productivity and their profitability. We do that by using smart IT and technology solutions to enable them to achieve their growth targets and business strategy.